Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So I have actually gotten a lot of questions about how I plan my trips, how I find cool places to visit that are, you know, a little bit off the beaten track, cool, local, maybe a little bit road less traveled sort of stuff. If you're like, who are you and why do you think that you can tell me about this? I am a travel writer. I did spend like 5 years working for BuzzFeed, writing travel guides, writing about a lot of places that I've never been to before. So I got really good at doing a lot of searching and figured out how to find like the local aspect without being a local. And last year I spent like 9-10 months traveling around Europe and the US, and I feel like I went to a lot of cool places. I saw some really cool stuff. I got to experience things that maybe you wouldn't if you didn't spend the time to look for the cool things. So anyway, I figured I'm just gonna take you through my process. Okay, so number one, before you even do anything, I really recommend you start either a note on your phone or a Google Doc where you can just put in everything that you find. I use a Google Doc because I can access it on my computer, and I can also have it on my phone, and I can download it for offline use as well. So I like to have a full master list of every single place that I've been recommended or that I read about, just so you know you've got an easy access. If you've got an afternoon to kill and you're like, oh, what was that thing that someone said to me once? It's right there in your doc. Because especially when you're traveling, you run into people all the time and they're like, oh, I went to this city, it's really good, you should go there, and then they have this bakery which has the most amazing cake, you've got to try it, and you're like, wait, what? So it's really good to sort of like have this running doc that you can just add to all the time. I've already got one going for my next trip to Asia, which honestly, who knows when that's gonna happen, thanks COVID. But every time I hear something good, every time I read something good, I can just add it to my trusty doc. So when I was in Europe last year, I made a ginormous doc where I had like each country was on its own little section. My Google Doc really isn't the most organized. Like, I wish that I had made it way more organized, but it's pretty easy to just like Control F and find whatever country you're looking for. It's messy, there's a lot of random links, there's a lot of copying and pasting, there's a lot of things, you know, all over the place, but you know what? It still works. You can lay it out beautifully if you want. I just am a little bit lazy. So for the purposes of this video, let's pretend that we're planning a trip to Prague. Now, Prague is one of those places that is super touristy, and there's heaps of really touristy things you can do. So when you search things to do in Prague, you're gonna come up with like the castle, the town square, the bridge, the most popular tourist restaurants, which is great. But how can you sort through all of that and find the cool local angles? So the first place that I go to get some information is Reddit, which can be a little bit intimidating. Reddit is a strange place with some strange people, but I have found some really good communities on there. I love the solo travel community. There's always really good ideas of places to go, things to see, what to do. You've just kind of got to sort through it because there is a lot of information. So if you don't know, Reddit is made up of different subreddits. So each subreddit is sort of like a different topic, and then people can go there and then talk about different things, and you can have different subtopics within that. It's kind of confusing, but anyway, the main thing you need to know is reddit.com/r/travel, and that is the travel subreddit. It's got 5.3 million members, so there's a lot going on here. First thing I do is I go to destinations in the top, topic of the week. So every week there's a different topic of the week, usually a country or a city, and then people can sort of click on it and add their thoughts, add their experiences, add their recommendations. So this is always my first place that I go to. So for example, Prague, we can look up Prague and we can look up Czech Republic. So then this is when you need to just like have some time, and you kind of want to just scroll through everything, write down all of the info that you think is relevant to you in your trusty Google Doc. So let's have a look at what we've got going on in Prague. So first of all, someone letting us know about a couple of scams: taxi scam, water scam, exchange scam. Okay, good to know. So it's really good because you get like some pretty in-depth experiences from people. So this is saying, you know, Old Town is touristy, but it's beautiful. It's a great example of a walking tour. It says that the Jewish Quarter is lovely, some great places for food. So I'll just start copying and pasting these places. So for example, I'm reading this and I'm like, oh, okay, this bar sounds really cool. I'm gonna copy and paste the whole comment, put it in my doc, and so then one day when I'm like, I don't know what I want to do for dinner tonight, there we go, there's a great suggestion. If you're on the castle side, go here for a beer. Okay, cool, I do know that I'm going to go visit the castle at some point, so I'm going to put that in, and then I've got it saved. So then basically it's just a matter of scrolling through and seeing what everybody else says. Yes, it does take a bit of time, but like you find some really cool stuff this way. For example, there is a meat shop called Nasze Maso. Go there, it will change your life. Okay, I'm in, let's do it. Okay, here people are talking about the Taste of Prague food tour. I love food. Okay, great, I'm gonna copy that and I'm gonna remember it for when I'm there. And then you can go over to the Czech Republic topic, which is obviously gonna be focused on all different areas of the country, but you never know, there might be some good Prague stuff in here. Okay, look, first comment. Prague is so far my favorite European city I've visited. And then they go on to recommend a really cute little courtyard that you can visit. So there's some good knowledge in here that you can mine. Also, again, you can just go Control F, Command F, and search Prague. And then it's gonna come up with all the Prague specific recommendations. Then after that, I recommend you search just Prague on the travel subreddit. And again, you'll come up with a bunch of topics that people have posted. So some might be questions asking recommendations for restaurants. Some might be really specific, like how do I get a phone card in Prague? And then some of them might be general, like here's my Prague itinerary, what do you think? Again, it's gonna take some time, but it's a really good place to just sort of go through all of the threads and just, again, copy and paste all of the things that look interesting to you. Okay, spending 5 days in Prague looking for advice. Usually this will be full of really helpful comments. We've got some great recommendations for day trips, for places to drink beer, a really good restaurant, a cool museum, a food tour. Again, they're really talking about that food tour. I feel like we need to go on that. And some of the advice is like not very helpful. Like this one is like, you should stay at a hostel because it's cheap. Wow, thanks. But the rest of Reddit can also have some really good other information. There usually is like a local city subreddit, so like reddit.com/r/Prague, but there's a chance that that's going to be in Czech, which I don't know if you speak Czech, but might be hard to kind of understand everything. And it's also more about like local goings on rather than cool things you can do. Sometimes it's worth mining through it, but it usually takes a lot of time and it's usually stuff that is really not relevant to you. Within that city subreddit though, you could search for words like hiking or sunrise or restaurant, maybe, if you want to find some like specific local recommendations. But again, you may as well just be in the travel subreddit because it's so full of information. Another subreddit that I like to search on is Earth porn, which is essentially just beautiful photos from around the world. It's not always great for cities, but you might be able to find some, you know, cool vantage points, some really cool places that are like beautiful for taking photos or for watching the sunrise and sunset that you might not have known of. So you can search Prague. My computer is going so slowly. Frickin' hell. Show results from Earth porn, and then it comes up with some cool things. Little forest in Prague. Wow, I didn't know Prague had a little forest, and I went there. So then you can sort of see this and be like, okay, if that's somewhere that I want to go, read through the okay, well, there's no comments, but sometimes there's comments and it will say like, this is at this place, and you can easily add it to your list. You're probably going to need to like dedicate 2 or 3 hours to like sorting through all of this, but I promise you it is all worth it in the end. Also, I keep going blurry because I drop my camera a lot and the autofocus doesn't work very well, so sorry. Again, you can just like kind of search through Reddit. Another great subreddit to search on is solo travel. What else is there? I feel like there are other good ones. You could search Europe, you can search backpackers, you can search, I don't know, probably other stuff, nature, I don't know. Then I usually do a Google, and I kind of know what I'm gonna get when I Google, but you never know, you might find some cool stuff that you wouldn't know about. Usually I type in like unique things to do in city. It is going to be a lot of the same stuff over and over, but I like to sort of read through what people say, and every now and then you'll find something cool that you didn't expect. Also look out for anything from the website Atlas Obscura, which I love. It's kind of bizarre. They call it cool, hidden and unusual things to do in a certain city, and some of them are like, I'm not going to do that, but some of them are really cool, like this awesome old monastery, this museum of alchemists and magicians. Okay, yeah, cool. A magical cavern. Okay, that sounds great. So definitely check out atlasobscura.com. Then I'll just sort of go through the blogs that come up on Google. Again, you're just gonna have to dedicate some time to scrolling through a lot of stuff, especially when everybody uses SEO and there's just like so much writing to scroll through, which is fine. You do you gotta get what you gotta get. Have a scroll, see if anything catches your eye, add it to your dock. Drink out of a gnome. Cool. Okay, so because I was traveling for so long last year, I went to so many places and I researched so many places that I sort of found the blogs that I liked that were really good at finding these local treasures, these little things in the cities that I wouldn't have found on my own. So you kind of get to know the URLs and you get to know the blogs that you resonate with, I guess. So then next, I like to go on to Instagram. Now, every city and country will have usually their own tourism Instagram to, you know, promote tourism, whatever. So it's going to be filled with really beautiful photos because they want you to love the country or the city. So let's go Prague. City of Prague. Great. So basically you just scroll through and you can see, oh wow, that's really beautiful. Where's that? Oh, it's at this bar. I'm gonna save that and go there. Again, you can add it to your dock or you can add it to your bookmarks on Instagram. You can even save it to a specific collection. So for example, I'm gonna save this to Prague, save, and there you go. And then you can go to your saved collections, Prague, and there's everything you saved. So it's kind of like a little folder of places that you want to go and you want to see. Okay, then usually what I try to do is I take it a step further, and you can see that these accounts repost other travelers' photos and they tag them in it, but it looks like this one doesn't. It looks like they take their own photos. But usually if they tag an influencer or they tag the person who took the photo, you can click onto their profile and then usually you'll see that they've got a bunch of other photos from their trip to Prague, and then you can see where else they've been and all the other cool places they've been and sort of scope it out that way. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. It makes sense in my mind, but whatever. So that's the official one. Sometimes there's also accounts that have huge followings that aren't the official ones, but they've got heaps of amazing photos. Like this one is really good. If you look at this photo, they've actually got heaps of info in the caption as well. So like, woof, saving that, thank you. You know, great. So take some time, look through all the accounts, find the cool photos and save them. Like, for example, I remember when I went to Prague, I saw a photo like this and I was like, there is no way that there are swans just like hanging out in the city. And then I looked it up and there was, and I went there. So you can find cool things that way as well. Lastly, Facebook groups. Honestly, the only reason to be on Facebook anymore is Facebook groups, and I'm in a lot of them, and I'm in quite a lot of travel Facebook groups, which can be a really good resource. I'm in some super niche ones like Colorado road trip ideas because I was in Colorado on a road trip, so I joined the group and it was a great way to find out places to go, where to camp, etc, etc, etc. But then I'm also in really broad groups like this one called Girls Love Travel, which literally has 1 million members. It is chaotic. There is a lot going on in there. Some of it is very entertaining. I remember this one post, there was this girl who was comparing dick sizes of all the guys that she slept with when she was in Europe. So there's a lot on there to be discovered, but it is again a great place to find recommendations. You can search within the group. So for example, Prague. Again, you are going to get a lot of shit that you have to wade through. Like you're going to get a lot of like, go to this castle, go to this town square, blah 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 blah. Oh wait, look, there's a post that I did about going to Prague. Cute. Hi. Okay, so what you do here is you just scroll through and read everything. So this one, okay, it's got 96 comments, so that's probably going to be really good. So yeah, it's just a matter again of scrolling through, finding answers, searching through things. This one does take a while because it does have 1 million members, but there might be other smaller niche groups that you can join. You know, especially if you're going somewhere for a long time. If you're going to be in Prague for a month, maybe you can look up, you know, Prague expats or girls who live in Prague and meet up with them. Yeah, Facebook groups are a really good untapped resource. Maybe they're not untapped, but maybe to you they're untapped. They're a really good resource that you can tap to get a lot of great information. And finally, if you're watching this, you go on YouTube frequently. So I usually will search on YouTube for vlogs from whatever city I'm going to and see if there's anything good on there. I'm a pretty visual person, so I like to see stuff before I decide to go there. So there are a couple of YouTubers that I love and I always check their pages if they've been to a destination that I'm going to. Damon and Joe, icons. Flying the Nest, love them so much. Nate and Cara. You can search mine if you want, but basically I'll just type in Prague vlog and see what comes up and watch it and get some good ideas. So those are really my main ways of planning a trip. I would say the number one thing is to have a Google Doc or a note on your phone that you can constantly add to, and every time someone recommends a place to you, whack it in the doc. That way you've got everything in one place. And make sure it's something that you can get offline on your phone in case you don't have a SIM card or whatever. Other than that, I don't think I have any other wisdom to impart. Happy traveling, happy planning. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up because it supports my channel and it helps me beat the algorithm. So, see you in my next video. Bye.